These are my top 5 favorite gay films that I've covered on this channel. Please don't be upset if I don't include a movie that you've enjoyed. This is just how I currently feel right now. Yeah, don't take it too serious. And also, if you are new to the channel or if you haven't seen some of these movies, I will have links to my full video that I've made on these films, so just know that that will be available here for you. So coming in at number 5 is a film called Urbania. And it is about a man named Charlie who is in search of a mysterious figure, a mysterious man that It's best not to know anything about this movie. The less you know about this movie, the better. Just know that it is a gay thriller and it does deal with some very heavy subject matter. And I'm so glad that I stuck around for the first half because the second half really delivered on the kind of confusion, ambiguity, what is going on flavor of the beginning. Still wrestling in my head how the first half has to do with the second half, but that's kind of the brilliance of it. And what really has me putting this on the list, it's the powerful use of film editing in this. And you don't get to see thrillers a lot in the gay genre, so that's great to see here. So this is a film that I did want to include just because it has stuck with me. Okay, coming in at number 4 is a film called God's Own Country. This is kind of like a modern, updated Brokeback Mountain, except there's a happier twist on it without giving a lot away. The film is about a farmhand who starts to have feelings for a visitor that helps out on the farm. And it's a very simple story, but what really carries the movie is the characters and the performances from the actors. They really do give it such a breath of fresh air in a story that we've seen a lot of. There's not a lot going on in terms of, plot, but there's a lot going on between the characters and their development and their growth. There is a scene in this film, I think it's the last scene or the second to last scene, really stuck with me and really made it memorable and definitely worth your consideration. Okay, coming in at number 3 is a movie called The Trip. And I had been avoiding this film for a while because of the poster. To me, it kind of looked like an adult film, but I am so glad that I gave this film a chance because this movie is very, very good. It has the sheer epicness of a Hollywood film. And the film is about 2 characters over the span of many years. It has that Hollywood epic quality of classic, romantic comedies in a way. The film does a great job doing tonal shifts throughout. And again, like a lot of these films that I'm talking about, it's best not to know anything about the film, especially with The Trip, because there's a lot of twists and turns along the ride. Just a fantastic movie, and it's kind of a surprise to me that this movie's not well known because it has a lot of great production value, and there's even some very popular songs that appear in the film. It has such a mainstream kind of appeal. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a happy movie, a happy ending, rather, but it's just a great film, and I'm so glad that I discovered that. Before I talk about number 2, I just want to say that the number 1 was such a debate in my head, and I go back and forth, and like I said, there's not a definitive, this is just how I feel right now in the moment, but it was hard to decide what was going to go in number 2 or 1 because they're equally just genuine masterpieces in my opinion. But this number 2 pick is a movie called Parting Glances. And this film came out in the late 80s, and the plot is super simple, and on paper you might wonder why it's, even that interesting, but that's really the reason it's so brilliant. It kind of has to do with relationships, about a man's ex-boyfriend and his current relationship, but what really makes it powerful is that it's dealing with the everyday lives of people during this tragic time in gay history, dealing with HIV and AIDS. But what's really powerful about Parting Glances is that it doesn't deal with these topics in a, in-your-face way. It kind of is happening in the background where things are mentioned here and there. And in a lot of ways, that kind of makes it more tragic because we get to see people just trying to live their lives, but this horrible thing is just over them. And that's not to say that it's a miserable movie. That's quite the opposite, and that's why I really like it. And I think it stuck with me is that it invites you in, but it's got a lot of baggage to it, if that makes any sense. And I think that's why it has been always dwelling in my mind. A real masterpiece. You have a young Steve Buscemi in the film. Parting Glances is something that has stuck with me, a really genuine masterpiece that deserves to be looked at and talked about. Okay, number 1. It's a movie called Lilies. Now, coming out in the 90s, the film is about a priest who visits a prison to hear a confession from an inmate. And that's all you should know about the movie. Don't read anything else about it. It's better. I know I said that about other movies, but it's best in this movie. You don't know anything about what's going to happen. And it's okay to be confused at the beginning, as I was, about what's going on, but slowly the movie will make sense. And like I said, I was debating about should Parting Glances be number one or should this movie be number one, but I think Lilies is number one just for the sheer epicness and because it blends a lot of the things that I said that I liked about the other movies all together in one. I mean, we have great editing, great performances, great character work, brilliant script, just using all the cinematic tools to its advantage. And it reminds you why you love movies. And even though this movie is definitely not one that you could say is a good, happy ending, I'll just say that feeling, and I forget who says this, I've heard this quote before, but if a piece of art is tragic, it still could be uplifting because it just appreciating a good piece of art can make you understand a deeper insight into the human condition. And Lilies definitely took me there. That's my current list right now. That's how I currently feel. Tomorrow I might feel different. I hope to discover more movies that really just blow my mind, because when that happens, it reminds you why you love movies. And I'm always looking to find that that one that does it.